Welcome back to Outnumbered. Major developments concerning the Iran nuclear deal. Government officials in Tehran now saying they will not allow American or Canadian inspectors working for the UN nuclear watchdog agency to visit its nuclear facilities. This as President Obama is making a hard sell to Democratic lawmakers and grassroots supporters. Meantime, a top French official may have thrown some cold water on Secretary of State John Kerry's claim that if Congress kills the deal, quote, our friends will desert us, leaving no chance to restart talks. A senior advisor to the French president reportedly saying a congressional no vote might actually be helpful. Then in the end, Iran would come back to the negotiating table and the world could get a better deal. However, a French embassy spokesman later issued a statement denying those remarks. Big surprise there. Judge, let me start with you. Let's start with it. So the remarks about not letting Americans and Canadians in, this was made by a deputy foreign minister during a parliament meeting on Sunday. This was in Iran. Do you think that they were boasting? Because that is always the claim that's made in Washington. Oh, they're just saying these things. Or do you think that's real, that they wouldn't let Americans or Canadians in?
Clearly there's no love lost between Iran and the U.S. and Canada or any other practically civilized country. But I don't know what's in the agreement. I don't know if the agreement required them to open up for inspections from anybody.
Doesn't seem like it.
If it's not part of the agreement, then I have no doubt that they fully intend to keep us as far away as possible from that. I mean, I said, it was a month ago or so when this started, we started talking about this. I said I don't trust Iran. I'll never trust Iran. I don't think they will ever live up to this agreement. So I certainly would not expect them to gladly and eagerly allow American inspectors or Western inspectors to come in. Only those that they have diplomatic relations with, because they have some leverage with them. They can cut diplomatic ties.
Andrea, another detail that came out was that they said that they're going to be the ones to collect the soil samples and the samples from around the air samples and this and that and hand them over rather than letting the inspectors.
I'm sure they won't be compromised at all. We can absolutely trust them to give us clean soil samples that won't be tampered with. Look, Melissa, I think you bring up a really good point about not knowing what's in the deal, but not only that, we don't know what are in the side deals. What are the specific bullet points? Those are completely lost. And it shouldn't surprise us. Just 2 weeks ago, the Supreme Leader, right before the deal was inked, came out and said, we don't have to honor any of this. After we sign it, we don't have to honor any of this. Yet still, the Secretary of State testified on Capitol Hill that we could trust them. And if you really watch those hearings, and I encourage everyone to go back and watch them, not just Kerry, but Secretary Moniz had no answers for even Democratic senators on whether or not this was a good deal and whether or not these sanctions could be lifted and enforced. It was really pathetic and abysmal. And I hope that the U.S. Senate votes this down.
You know what worries me more than that is I don't really believe that they're going to take any steps to comply at all. I don't think they're going to comply for a little while and then stop complying. I don't think they're ever going to even start complying.
I agree.
Because they know how slow everything moves. They stop complying, we make threats. We're going to take it in front of the UN. By that time, they will build 5 bombs.
Well, meanwhile, go ahead.
We already saw that, Melissa. We saw in the beginning. Remember, they said, oh, yeah, you can come in and inspect, lift our sanctions, and then you can come in and inspect. Then they said, wait a minute, you can inspect after we've had 28 days, basically, to clean up our facilities. And now they're saying, no, now we're not going to let you inspect. So why in the world would our Congress ever, ever, ever pass a deal to improve their system and not ours?
The only reason they would pass the deal is politics. There is no way, I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican, there's no way you look at this and go, I trust this.
Let me get Stacey in here, because the second part of this was that idea of the French diplomatic official who went on American TV and said, hey, listen, it's not a big deal. If Congress, sets this aside, then, gives us a chance to make an even better deal. Now the French are backpedaling like mad. What do you think of that?
I think they're right. I think if we say no now, it gives us a chance to get more allies behind us, figure out what the real situation is, and push them back on their heels. Right now, they seem to feel like they have the power because we're willing to do whatever they want. If we say no, you know what? No. We don't want it.
And it's very troubling, too, that John Kerry said our friends, and he was concerned that we might lose, quote, our friends. That, to me, would be very troubling if I'm in Israel as well.
If we say no to them now,
then who are your enemies?
We can get our allies, figure out who are really our allies and have them back us up.
Yeah, for a better deal.
Yes.
All right. It's been a deadly summer across the country with murder rates skyrocketing in major cities. What experts blame for the rising crime rate and whose policies might be responsible. Plus,